CMSportsNet is made possible by Genova's To Go and by Carroll Links.
Welcome to Ruby Field at Westminster High School, where it's time for another CMSportsNet Football Game of the Week broadcast. We've got Frederick and Westminster about to kick off for a big Week 2 matchup, and I say about because we're in a little bit of a weather delay right now. Good evening, everybody. I'm Pat Stoetzer, the Community Media Center. With me is former Francis Scott Key football coach Mike Coons. And Mike, I appreciate you joining us for this broadcast. I think we're going to get in tonight.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, it looks like it's going to lighten up for us here a little bit directly.
We had some clouds roll in. We had big, heavy raindrops, and then it stopped. But, of course, the weather detector went off, so we're in a little bit of a delay right now. But when we get out there and we finally kick off here, what are you looking forward to the most between two really good teams, Frederick and Westminster?
I want to see Frederick, to be honest. I'm somewhat familiar with Westminster, obviously, but you come out the beginning, Week 1, statement win over a Middletown team. You're somebody I want to see at that point. And the Owls, certainly, I know Coach Basler was a little concerned about Franklin coming in. His concerns were well-founded.
They were.
But down big and come back, they had actually a pretty big win as well. So, Week 2, you can't do better than 1-0 and 1-0.
Absolutely true. Yeah, no, you're right. Two big statement wins. Frederick was 10-0 last year until they got to the regional playoffs and lost there, so they got some bitter taste in their mouth, the kids that are returning. And then same goes for Westminster. They go 10 wins, get to the state quarterfinals again, and fall short against a really good Oakdale team. It's early in the season, but big games for both sides, wouldn't you say, where it's just trying to make a statement here early like that?
Absolutely. And then I looked at some of the numbers you have here for Frederick last year, and they're Chuck Foreman era reminiscent, and having played against that team 3 times and contributed to those big numbers, I'm pretty interested.
First-hand experience in that
very
one,
much, too much. So.
Too much, yeah. Well, we're going to have a pregame show as soon as we can get back in here with weather delay. I think right now, though, what we're going to do is we're going to let you guys watch our most recent Game On broadcast. We put together a weekly show every week and do it back at the the CMC rather. So go ahead and settle in and watch a little bit of what happened this past Wednesday at the studios. We'll come back and give you an update as we can. Right now, we're in a weather delay at Ruby Field. We're going to have Westminster and Frederick here in Week 2 as soon as we can. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Genova's To Go and by Carroll Links.
Hi there, I'm Pat Stoetzer, and welcome to Game On from CMSportsNet, our weekly show where we'll check in on all things Carroll County High School sports. This week, we're heading back to Ruby Field for a big Week 2 football matchup as Westminster hosts Frederick in the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. We'll also check in with boys and girls soccer around Carroll County with a look at some results from opening weekend and a look ahead to a few upcoming matchups. Plus, we'll have some highlights from Parker Field, where South Carroll's boys squad hosted Smithsburg on September 5th in the Cavaliers' home opener. Carroll Community College fall sports are in full swing with men's soccer and volleyball, so we'll see how the Lynx are doing so far. And we'll unveil the first CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week of the 2023 fall season. All right, let's go. It's Game On. It looks to be another big matchup early in the high school football season when Westminster and Frederick square off on September 8th. The Owls are looking to go 2-0 for a second straight season. We'll talk a little bit more about Frederick and Westminster in a bit. But first, let's look back and see how the Owls rallied to defeat Franklin behind a huge game from quarterback Cadets-Owls Walker. The 2023 high school football season kicked off on Friday, September 1st around the area. And CMSportsNet descended on Ruby Field at Westminster High School, where the Owls hosted Franklin for the first Game of the Week broadcast of the fall. We saw a bevy of big plays, and the game wound up becoming an instant classic. Westminster scores on its opening drive, thanks in part to a converted 4th down play along the way, and quarterback Cadets-Owls Walker caps it with this 5-yard touchdown pass to Clayton Dorsey. Owls up 7-0 midway through the first quarter. Franklin responds. After Anthony Gibson's 31-yard touchdown catch ties the score, Indians quarterback Xander McCracken goes down the far sideline and Gibson is at it again. It's a 40-yard scoring strike. Franklin 14, Westminster 7 early in the second quarter. It's Kyrese Walker once more. This time he splits Franklin's defense and darts away for a 60-yard touchdown run. We're even at 14 apiece, 8 minutes to play in the first half. Franklin scores in big ways down the stretch. After a Devin Rollins 27-yard rushing score, Kraken finds Christian Watson for a 48-yard touchdown as he goes up top to make the catch. Indians up 28-14. Rollins breaks away again for another long score after an Owls turnover, and the visiting team is pouring it on. Franklin 35, Westminster 14 at the break.
Dominating this game on big plays.
But the Owls aren't done. Walker scores from 10 yards out to cut into Franklin's lead midway through the third, and then this happens. The Indians botch the snap on a punt, and John DeVia falls on the loose ball in the end zone. The extra point fails, but suddenly it's 35-27 with 5:46 to go in the third. Gibson helps Franklin extend the lead on this 8-yard beauty of a run. Indians 42, Owls 27 with 3 minutes to play in the quarter. How about this for an answer? Isaiah Sprinkle gets the kickoff at the 5-yard line, gets to the far sideline, and gets away from Franklin's defenders for a 95-yard touchdown. That makes it Franklin 42, Westminster 34.
Isaiah Sprinkle, he's going to go all the way. That's a 90-yard kickoff return.
And now the Owls defense makes a big play. Franklin opts for a halfback pass, but the ball is deflected into the arms of senior linebacker Casey Heisig for a big turnover. Westminster faces a 4th down on the ensuing drive, deep in Franklin territory, when Walker keeps the play alive and finds Canton Rudders all alone for a 20-yard touchdown strike. The Owls fail on the 2-point try, but it's 42-40 with 9:30 to play. Westminster needs one more big play, and Walker provides it. It's a 23-yard touchdown run around the right end with good blocks out in front. And the Owls take a 48-42 lead after Jadon Segree runs it in for 2 points with 3:19 to go. The Owls hang on to complete the comeback. Final score is Westminster 48, Franklin 42. Kyrese Walker totals 5 touchdowns and dominates on the ground for the home team, which returns to Ruby Field on September 8th for a Week 2 showdown with Frederick.
A great game and a fantastic finish. What a start for the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. Now let's see the rest of the Week 1 scoreboard to see how some of the other Carroll County teams fared. Winters Mill got 83 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns from quarterback Caleb Crouch and 3 2-point conversions from Camden Cook in a win over Williamsport, a team that won a regional title in 2022. Manny Rodriguez ran for 94 yards and a touchdown, and he had 57 receiving yards for South Carroll, but the Cavaliers fell on the road to the Seahawks. Cameron Reed had a pick 6 for Manchester Valley in a losing effort against Perry Hall, a state quarterfinalist from a season ago. And now it's on to the game of the week. Like I said, I'll be joined on Friday, September 8th by Mike Coons in the broadcast booth at Ruby Field. Our pregame show is set for 6:45, and kickoff is set for 7. Westminster got to 1-0 after their come-from-behind win over Franklin in Week 1, like you just saw. The Owls trailed 35-14 at halftime, but held Franklin to 7 second-half points and rallied to win in front of an energetic crowd at Ruby Field. Owls quarterback Kyrese Walker totaled more than 300 yards of offense and accounted for 5 Westminster touchdowns. Plus, the Owls got a 95-yard kickoff return for a score from junior Isaiah Sprinkle. Frederick took down Middletown 29-14 last week in Pat Cadden's first game as Cadets head coach. Now, Frederick and Westminster haven't played each other since 2004, and the Cadets won that game 20-14. So 19 years later, we're going to give you the next round for the game of the week. Both teams are 1-0 to start the 2023 season, and you can see here that Westminster had the edge in overall yardage. Both teams totaled 3 takeaways in their victory, so expect another competitive game when they face off Friday night. The Owls scored plenty of points in Week 1, led by an outstanding performance
by senior QB Kyrese Walker. But Westminster also had some standout defensive performances. Senior linebacker Casey Heisig led the way with a team-high 10 tackles, and he hauled in a big interception in the second half. We caught up with Owls coach Chris Basler earlier this week as Westminster prepared to take on Frederick at home. So let's check in with the coach and hear what he has to say. Coach, huge win last Friday against a really good Franklin team. How important is it to come off of that win and tell your guys that, hey, we still got another game to go against another tough customer in Frederick?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it helps when you have another high-quality opponent. It helps everybody get focused again. And really for us, we the mantra this year is it's so much about how we're playing, not who we're playing. We're trying to practice the same way and play at the same level every single Friday, regardless of who the opponent is, because we play a bunch of good ones.
What pleased you the most last week throughout that second half? First half too, but definitely that second half when you guys came back from 21 down. Those are one or two guys or moments that really got your juice.
I mean, I think if you look at the game as a whole, I think our effort was good the whole game, and it was just the execution got so much better in the second half, and we stopped making the mistakes that really put us in a hole in the first half. And just the fact that we were able, for such as young as we are, to be able to keep fighting and making plays and getting our way, and not just getting back in the game, but winning the game, I think is huge for us.
You talk about growing up, and they got to grow up as they go along. What do they have to do this week to grow up against a good Frederick team?
I mean, I think it's just continuing to practice hard and practice well, and hopefully some of the jitters are out. We started 5 sophomores and 9 sophomores total playing the game. This isn't their first game now, and it's time to start playing like a varsity football player.
We're looking forward to another great matchup when Frederick takes on Westminster for the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. Catch all the action on Friday, September 8th, starting with our pregame show at 6:45. Kickoff is at 7, and you can follow the broadcast on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, as well as on cable channel HD 1086. Now let's take a look at the Week 2 schedule, and we have 2 Thursday games on the slate. Winters Mill visits Seed School, and Manchester Valley hits the road to take on North Hagerstown. Francis Scott Key has its home opener, and the Eagles host North County looking for their first win. And Century has an early evening home game against Cambridge South Dorchester from the Eastern Shore. Liberty goes after win number 1 with a road contest at Boonesboro, and South Carroll will do the same, visiting Linganore. Be on the lookout this weekend for highlights from Friday's Game of the Week, and tune back in next Wednesday as we'll break down all the action from Week 2. When we come back, we'll see some of the county soccer teams that have opened the fall on the right foot, and the same goes for the Carroll Lynx soccer and volleyball teams. Plus, we'll unveil the first CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week for the fall season. So don't go anywhere. Game on. I'll be right back.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg. For lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
Hey there, I'm Pat Stoetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
Each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss the Score and More podcast presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports Podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels.
Welcome back to Game On. Soccer season is underway with some intriguing storylines already taking shape. We checked in with South Carroll's boys team, which won the regional title in 2022, as they hosted Smithsburg on September 5th. Let's get into the action from Parker Field. South Carroll and Smithsburg in the Cavaliers' home opener, and they treated their fans to a solid performance against the visiting Leopards. SC got first half goals from Cohen Blevins, Alec Jaguar, and Matthew Murphy en route to a 3-0 halftime lead. Here's Murphy from the near side with the third goal of the game for South Carroll. Ben Solomon netted 2 goals in the second half, and it was all South Carroll from the start. Watch as Solomon nets his second score of the contest right here. And check out Blevins on this rocket from the near side that finds the upper 90 to pad the Cavaliers' lead in the second half. Little gritty there, too. Senior defender Gunnar Rees gets in on the action with a nice header for a goal. South Carroll is cruising. Final score is South Carroll 9, Smithsburg 0. Up next for the Cavaliers, a road match with Thomas Johnson on September 7th. The Cavaliers are 2-1 after their big win over the Leopards, and they weren't the only team with early wins in the 2023 season. As we can see here, Century opened the season with a convincing win over Athelton, and Man Valley blanked Middletown in their season debut. Francis Scott Key dropped its first game of the year on the road. Liberty, Westminster, and Winters Mill are still preparing for their first action of the season. Now let's see what's on tap for boys soccer in the coming days. Reigning county champ Liberty, hosts Frederick on Century, while Man Valley, Westminster, and Winters Mill all have home games in the next few days. FSK is back at it on September 11th when the Eagles visit Middletown. Now, many teams had their season openers delayed or rescheduled on September 5th because of the heat advisories in the metro area. Switching things over to girls soccer now, where Winters Mill started with a bang. The Falcons blasted Thomas Johnson 10-0 in their opener. South Carroll blanked Smithsburg in the Cavaliers' first game since their state final appearance last November, and Century tied with South River last weekend in tournament action. FSK lost its season opener on the road September 5th. The reigning county champion Knights are back at it Saturday, September 9th, with another tournament game against Sloan Anne Arundel. Winters Mill and South Carroll have home games on September 7th. The Owls have their season opener set for September 11th against Frederick County foe Thomas Johnson. Carroll Community College's fall sports teams have begun their 2023 seasons, and the men's soccer team recently celebrated its first win of the fall. The Lynx defeated Hagerstown 3-0 on August 31st and dominated the Hawks with 43 total shots. Carroll started 0-3 and was outscored 9-1 before handling Hagerstown last week. The volleyball squad had a scrimmage with McDaniel last week, coming off the first ever match in school history on August 23rd. Cecil College won the match, but the Lynx won a set and several players performed well. Now let's see what's coming up next for Carroll. Men's soccer is on the road until next weekend when CCBC Essex comes to Westminster on September 16th. Volleyball returns home after a road match at Chesapeake College for 3 in a row, starting with September 13th versus Anne Arundel. Carroll County's athletic directors and a group of chosen high school athletes recently met for the annual leadership conference at Camp Hoshua. It was an event filled with spirited group sessions and team-building exercises. So let's see some highlights from that late summer day.
The second annual Carroll County Public Schools Student Athlete Leadership Conference took place on August 30th, once again at the Hoshua Environmental Center in Westminster, with all 7 of the county's high school ADs leading a select group of students in team-building exercises throughout the morning and afternoon. Similar conferences were put together and run by the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association during the last decade, and Carroll County Supervisor of Athletics Michael Duffy wanted to bring something like that to Carroll County. The goal was to develop skills and enhance sportsmanship, promote teamwork, and carry over into the community. One of this year's main themes was sportsmanship, with a session hosted by Francis Scott Key's Ryan Kimball and Westminster's Terry Malloy. The athletic directors chatted with the athletes about expectations of good sportsmanship and what it means to them.
Sportsmanship to me means having a winning mindset but still respecting the other team and creating a good environment to compete in and making sure everyone still has fun.
Kimball talked about the ways coaches and ADs can work together to create a solid environment at their schools.
I think it's imperative for coaches, athletic directors, student-athlete leaderships, and even fans and parents in the stands, when something negative is yelled from the stands, that we, in a polite way, confront it. We don't ignore the problem, we don't allow it to continue, and we confront it and we tell them that it's not acceptable in Carroll County Public Schools.
The athletic directors had robust conversations during the session, and topics ranged from personal experiences and situations where sportsmanship was lacking from the sidelines or the stands. Cielo Balsamo, a sophomore at Winters Mill High School, said it's important for parents to know their actions can affect many things during a sporting event.
I have had secondhand embarrassment by a parent from the other side of the team, so an opponent. Their mom was yelling, and I remember the girl telling the mom literally to stop yelling at everyone else because it was embarrassing her as well. If you're gonna have that much heat for no reason, you deserve not to watch the game at this point. So I think she deserved that.
Malloy is in his final year at Westminster after 22 years as the Owls AD, and before that he was an athlete and a coach himself. The memories of him failing to exhibit good sportsmanship are still vivid years later, because Malloy knows the importance of being on the positive side of things.
2 times which incurred things that I did against my opponent that ended up in my ejection ultimately, and I also committed some fouls against kids from other teams that I was never proud of. Remorseful. I hold myself at a pretty high level.
Winters Mill Jr. Chris Schoonover said understanding good sportsmanship benefits the entire team if everyone is on the same page.
Yeah, there's been some times where there was a teammate that he was getting a little bit too riled up during a game, and he was disagreeing with an opponent, and it caused his gameplay to start to suffer, which in turn, he was one of our starters, which made our team suffer. And I really think that was starting to affect us as a whole. Later it did. Later our coach pulled him, which helped him. He helped him settle down and really get back into the right mindset to help us start playing again.
CMSportsNet highlights one athlete each week and recognizes them for their outstanding achievements on the field of play. And we'll debut the CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week every Wednesday on Game On. So let's not wait any longer. Time to unveil the first CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week for the fall season. It's Westminster senior Kyrese Walker, who led the Owls football team to a big Week 1 win over Franklin. We caught up with Kyrese earlier this week, so let's hear from the quarterback. Kyrese, you've had a little time to let Friday's game, big win over Franklin, sink in. What was that win like for you guys? What was it like for you personally to come from behind like you did in the second half and get that big victory in the first game?
As a team, not just me, but as a team, it made us come together collectively and realize what we are and who we are, and it sent out a message to everybody, knowing that, like Deion said, we coming.
How about you personally? 200 yards, over 200 yards rushing, over 100 yards passing, 5 total touchdowns. I know you like to give your teammates as much of a chance to make things happen, but your ability to use your legs and your arm, how important is that to you, and how much have you worked on that to become a better player?
I mean, all my dad would tell me is just work, and then that's what got me here. And it's not just me, it's my team. Without the blocking, without my receivers blocking, my O-line blocking, made some big catches down the stretch too. So it's not just me, it's everybody.
You've talked to me before about the mindset, hey, we've lost in the last 2 years in the quarterfinals. We don't want that to happen again this year. We want to go further. Week 1's out of the way and a big victory, but what's it take to go forward now to keep getting wins and to keep doing what you guys think you can do to be an undefeated team maybe at the end of the season and go in as a #1 seed and make a run?
Yeah, so last year, I'm saying getting better at everything we can. So last year we lost to South Carroll because we came out that big one against Dundalk, and we just can't keep looking back at last week. We got to focus on this week, and now, like I said, every game, not before, and not the future, but now.
How much fun has this been? Last year too, but even the beginning of this year, training camp begins, you have expectations, you get out there and get that first win in front of a big crowd, come from behind. What's it like playing football for Westminster?
It's great. People think it's like a small school, but the community comes together and watches us, and it just feels like a big family. So yeah, and if you didn't support us now, don't come now. Don't hop on the bandwagon train now, for real.
It's rolling, right?
Yeah, it's rolling.
All right, man, appreciate it. Thanks, Kyrese. Congrats again to Kyrese Walker, this week's CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week. And that's going to do it for Game On this week. Don't forget, we're at Ruby Field on Friday, September 8th for the next football game of the week as Westminster hosts Frederick. Our pregame show is set for 6:45 and kickoff is 7. Be sure to follow all of CM Sportsnet's content on Facebook and YouTube, as well as on cable channel HD 1086. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Welcome back to Ruby Field, Westminster High School. We're still here. We're still in a rain delay, weather delay, whatever you would call it. Pat Stoetzer and Mike Coons with you on the CM SportsNet Game of the Week. Coach, we had the players come out on the field. The siren to end the first delay came on, got a little excited. Both teams came out, I don't know, about 5 or 6 minutes of warm-up, and then the siren went off again. So here we are.
It's good to have the technology. It's certainly, it's a safety thing, but it does get, I don't want to say excruciating necessarily, but it is up and down. I mean, you're at the mercy of the weather, and that's how it is.
And Mother Nature can be a fickle lady, right?
Absolutely.
In these situations, I believe when the siren goes off or the horn sounds, it's 30 minutes from the last detection of lightning.
I'm pretty sure that's correct.
And so, as we can see now, as the players are heading back to their respective locker rooms, nobody can be in the stands. You got to go back out in the parking lot. So it's frustrating, but it's part of the game, right? Especially in the early parts of the season. Go ahead.
I mean, that's one of the things that you want your kids to be able to handle. You know, I mean, you talk about adversity and block out the noise and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is a true test of that because they could be in and out of here 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
If they're determined to play this game, it might not kick off till 9 o'clock or something. So
yeah, correct. It could be a late night, right?
It could be a very late night.
I was actually going to ask you. You sort of took it, but what do you tell? You going back in the locker room now? You've warmed up a little bit. You haven't gone through all the preliminaries. What do you try to tell the guys as they're amped up or they want to get out here and play week 2?
That's a tough call. I mean, you could just take it out of gear, guys. You don't need to be ready to play yet. You need to be getting ready to play.
Right.
And unfortunately, this is going to stretch out the getting ready part. And the kids have to kind of come up with their own devices. Certainly, you can take them in, get them watered up. You can put them on the board, go back over, your game points or even, last-minute questions, whatever you got.
Sure.
But you don't really want to say, go in and lay down for 40 minutes and let's go again. That can get tough.
Yeah,
that can get tough.
In a Major League Baseball scenario, you've had your starter warm up. Sometimes you lose him because you don't want to keep warming him up over and over again.
Yeah.
Not really the case here as much, but you want to have the guys ready to go whenever they're going to kick off. I mean, like you said, it could be another hour and a half or so. Hope not. But
you can't work up to a fever pitch 5 times. I mean, that's this is tough. This is tough on the kids, tough on the coaches, tough on the fans. They've got to grab a ticket on the way out so they can get back in.
That's right.
And all that. But it sure beats a lightning strike.
True. That is definitely true. And you go back to the technology. Not that long ago, you and I remember you didn't have those things. You just had to kind of look up in the sky and get off the field, and God forbid anything bad happens like that. So it's good in that way.
Coach Seaman and I today was discussing. We played Owings Mills years ago. It was opening game. They had always come up to play us, and they decided they wanted to play a home game, and it was 101 degrees.
Oof.
And we wouldn't have played today, but we kicked off and off we went.
And if you saw clouds like that, it would be okay. If anybody sees lightning, let me know. Back in the old days.
Yes.
Now obviously it's much different. So right as we kind of come out of that broadcast game on, we heard the siren, and obviously Terry Malloy, the athletic director here at Westminster, made the announcement that everybody had to leave the stadium. But we get to hang out here in the press box for a little while longer, and hopefully we're going to give you the CM SportsNet Game of the Week here in week 2. But in weather delay right now, again, we're going to send you back to some original programming. We went out to all the training camps during the August month as you guys were getting ready to kick off 2023. So we put together a football preview show, season preview show. Let's go ahead and watch that, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can with more information about the weather delay. So stick with us. Hi, everybody. I'm Pat Stoetzer, and welcome to a special show from CMSportsNet, where it's time to take a look at each Carroll County high school football team in a 2023 season preview. We'll hear from the varsity coaches and some of the top players in the county as they get ready for a new football season. You'll find out who's feeling good about their squad as we close in on kickoff on September 1st. Now, CMSportsNet is making plans for Game of the Week broadcasts throughout the regular season, so stay tuned for more information as we gear up for all the high school football action. All right, let's get started and go alphabetically with previews of each Carroll County squad. Offense proved to be a challenge for Century in 2022. The Knights averaged 5.7 points per game and ended the year on a 5-game losing streak. Still, Century had the county's fourth leading rusher in Trey Helmick and Carroll's interceptions leader in Carter DiNicola. And the Knights scored a county victory against rival Francis Scott Key in Week 5. So let's go down to Eldersburg and check in with Century, which opens the season on the road against South Hagerstown. Century enjoyed just one win in 2022, and the Knights struggled on offense throughout the season. They went 1-9 and 1-5 in Carroll County play, but those who are back this fall have a different feeling about 2023.
Last year we weren't very competitive with our matchups, but this year we're coming back, trying to be more of a family instead of a team, trying to change our culture, be more disciplined. This year we each wrote a goal on a note card, and each person got a different note card, and we hung them up in our locker room. Every day we look at that and we hold each other accountable.
Dave Ferguson begins his third season as Century's coach and said returning so many players bodes well for the Knights' potential progress.
Well, the biggest thing is, last year we were really a young team, right? So you're looking at 9 of the 11 starters coming back on offense, 7 of the 11 coming back on defense. So really, really good numbers. We knew we were a challenge last year being so young, more experienced this year. And then we tried to change the culture a little bit more. So we're holding each other accountable. We're talking about our strengths. We're talking about our weaknesses. So we're going to feed off our strengths. We're going to pick each other up, overcome our weaknesses, and just be a more competitive football team, right? We're not focusing in on, individual things. We're literally 1 week at a time, right? And that's the mindset we got to come in, right? We want to be a competitive team. We want to change this culture here at Century, and we want to bring some wins back.
Century lost its top tackler on defense when Colin Perrier graduated after 78 tackles and 4 sacks. And Carter DiNicola led Carroll County with 5 interceptions. So the Knights need to fill some spots on the field. But senior Trey Helmick said he and his teammates have a different mindset this time around.
It's definitely a lot different from last year. We're definitely a lot harder in certain drills. We changed up a lot of things. We got new equipment, obviously. The rolling donut's my favorite personally, but definitely we're coming together.
Helmick led Century in rushing yards last season, and he averaged 5.8 yards per carry. Helmick will be just one of the offensive weapons for quarterback Ray Poulton, a senior who has taken to social media during the offseason to showcase what he's been doing at various prospect camps.
A lot of work. We've been in the weight room 4 days a week, ever since December. So we've been putting a lot of work, getting bigger and stronger. Me and the receivers been coming out on the field every week before the season, just getting ready, getting in tune with the guys.
Century opens the new season with 3 straight non-county opponents, and the Knights have only 4 home games in 2023. Their first county home game is September 29th against Francis Scott Key, which Century defeated 21-14 last fall. The Knights are talking about a change in culture, and Ferguson said he's seen a change since the first day of last season.
Absolutely. Think about football, right? The brotherhood on the field, right? And these guys battled last year. They battled together. They're back out on the field again this year. They're all together, and we're moving toward that one goal. And again, it was just changing the culture. It's led by the team. It's not led by me. It's not led by the coaches. But this team has really picked it up, and I think we're moving in the right direction. Punt return when you get out.
Let's take a look at Century's 2023 schedule, and you can see the Knights have only 4 home games this fall. Their first one is next week against Cambridge South Dorchester, and then Century hosts Francis Scott Key, Manchester Valley, and South Carroll. Now let's switch gears and go to Francis Scott Key. The Eagles went winless in the Carroll County Athletic League in 2022, and after a Week 2 win over St. John's Catholic Prep, led FSK in rushing yards in his sophomore season, and Ben Stevens threw for close to 900 yards at quarterback. He had 13 seniors on last year's roster under first-year coach David Cunningham, so he's trying to build something down in Uniontown. Let's see what the Eagles are trying to accomplish in 2023, which kicks off on the road against Smithsburg. Changes abound at Francis Scott Key this fall, with new faces across the field and an updated scheme for the offense. Eagles fans won't see the wing T run-heavy style they've been accustomed to over the years, and second-year coach David Cunningham said the offseason work is already paying off for a team desperately seeking wins.
The second year is looking a lot stronger. We started our off-season workout program in December. I've had like 50 to 60 at a time in there. We did speed and agility, so the guys are locked in, dialed in, and we're just ready to go. Our whole motto is 1% better every day. That's what we're looking to do. We already know there's great county teams. We want to compete. We want to win the county. That's our goal. But each game, one game at a time, we're looking to get better and better each and every day.
FSK went 1-9 in 2022 and 0-6 in county play. But Cunningham sees some positives that have carried over into the new season. Quarterback Ben Stevens returns to run the offense, along with the entire offensive line. Also back is Jermaine Dawson, who averaged close to 6 yards per carry out of the backfield last fall.
The best thing is, every guy that I called a dog last year, I got him back. So that's the one thing. So I have Ben Stevens return. My whole offensive line's returning. All those receivers are returning. Jermaine Dawson. I got a new transfer, Keandre Grooms from Westminster High School. He's looking to make a statement in his last year, and we're just looking to make a run for it.
Stevens threw for close to 900 yards last season and ran for more than 300. Having Dawson back as their leading rusher is another plus for the Eagles. Stevens said, having a good dose of experience and leadership should propel Key to a better record this fall.
I feel like we just got to be firing all cylinders, and as long as it's all working together, I feel like we'll be a threat.
Francis Scott Key's defense took some lumps in 2022. The Eagles allowed more than 35 points per game. But they returned some talent on that side of the field, led by lineman Gary Bavetta. The senior totaled 4 sacks last season, and Bavetta said he likes what he sees out of the veterans on this year's team.
Well, I think we got a lot of great leaders on this team this year. I've really stepped up. I've got some other guys. Ben, that's will be next. He's really stepped up. I just think we've got a good supporting cast this year. I think it'll be a lot better. Coach always, emphasizes 1% better each day. No one wants to be out here at 8 a.m., but we do it to get better. We do it to be stronger. We do it to be better than anyone else in this county.
FSK opens the season at Smithsburg before getting 3 straight home games. The Eagles host Winners Mill in their county opener in Week 3. Cunningham said if his team gets better every day for the rest of the fall, they have a chance for the wins to pile up.
First thing, we got to stay consistent. The whole time we got to stick together, but we also got to do our job. Do our job. That's what we preach each and every day, for each young man to do their job and lift each other up constantly every day. Because I feel like if I have to motivate them, we're already behind the 8 ball. So the fact that they're motivating themselves and they push each other at practice every day, that's going to put us in a better situation start to the season.
Let's go. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family. Good job.
The Eagles have 3 straight home games following their season opener, and 2 of those are against Carroll County teams Winners Mill and Liberty. The FSK hung with Century last season before losing by 1 score, and the rematch with the Knights is set for Week 5 in Eldersburg. Now over to Liberty, which did its best to buck the trend of coming up short in close games in recent years, and the Lions posted 7 wins with a piece of the Carroll County. Quarterback Jack Pelishati and receiver Sam Evans, but running back Seth Jacobs returns after posting the 3rd most rushing yards in Carroll in 2022. Time to hear from Coach Larry Luth and some of this year's players as they get ready for their season opener at home against Walkersville. Liberty shared the Carroll County title last fall with South Carroll and Westminster, and the Lions made it to the second round of the playoffs. They did so with All-County quarterback Jack Pelishati and All-County receiver Sam Evans. Pelishati led the county with more than 2,200 passing yards, and Evans had 51 catches for more than 1,100 receiving yards. Time marches on for Liberty, with more than 20 seniors gone from last year's squad that went 7-4 overall, 5-1 in the county. But the Lions aren't about to feel left behind with their Carroll opponents.
We got a lot of young cats this year, but we got a lot of potential. I feel like we just keep practicing hard and getting to know each other better, having a better team chemistry.
We're incredibly young, and not young age-wise. We got a lot of seniors on the team, but we had such a strong senior class, kids that were 3-year starters, that were really developing seniors. They didn't get as much as experience as we would like them to have. So we are really trying to fill in the gaps and get them up to speed on what we do. Unfortunately, I lost 2 great coaches with Brian Belt and Ben Agostino on the offensive side, and actually a third coach losing Lance Evans. So we're replacing coaches, and with that we're trying to teach what we do offensively and defensively. So it's been a challenging fall, but we're moving in the right direction. I think we saw a lot of improvement over the week, and hopefully we'll continue to see the improvement and getting ready for Walkersville. And we're excited where we are, but we know we got a lot of work to match what we hope our bar is.
Nick Forstner is among the new crop of seniors, and he'll be part of the offensive and defensive lines for Liberty. On the O-line, he'll be trying to clear a path for fellow senior Seth Jacobs, who last fall finished 3rd in the county in rushing yards. Taking over from Pelishati is junior Chase Miller, who will likely be seeing his first varsity action this fall. Michael Martin, another senior, is one of Liberty's jack-of-all-trades. He plays some receiver and defensive back, as well as handling the kicking and punting duties. Martin said he's been honing his kicking skills and trying to take his game to the next level.
Yeah, I've been all over the country. I've been furthest south was like Florida. I've been to like Arkansas, just a bunch of college camps, Coles camps, just getting ranked, trying to get my name out, We got so many guys just stepping up. It's fun to see it. I mean, I've been playing with the guys since freshman year, first year football. I mean, it's fun to see them grow and see myself grow at the same time, so.
Liberty's defense allowed less than 18 points per game a year ago, and returns its top tackler from 2022 in senior linebacker Nico Marsicano. Gone is sack leader Colin Murphy, but Forstner and the Lions have talent on that side of the ball too.
Yes, sir. I feel like defense is a little bit more far ahead because we had a lot more returning guys on defense that knew they were doing. But, like I said, we just got to keep practicing offense. We'll sync the defense, and we'll be pretty good.
Coach Larry Luth opens his 11th season as Lions coach with a tough home matchup against Walkersville. And the Lions return to Eldersburg in Week 3 to take on county rival Manchester Valley. Luth said this year's Lions will perform well by being patient and learning on the job.
Be patient, and they can't be afraid to make a mistake. They just have to try to go get it, and as they have success, their confidence will grow. And football is truly a game of confidence. The more confidence you have, you execute at a higher speed, and you're a little bit more forceful with what you want to do. And so early success is going to be important for us to get us where we want to be.
You'll see after the Lions host Man Valley in Week 3, they don't return for a home game until late October when Westminster comes to Eldersburg in Week 8. Liberty and Century clash in the rivalry game in the regular season finale at the Lions Den. Manchester Valley closed the 2022 regular season with 4 straight wins before the Mavericks came up just short against Franklin in the playoffs, led by standout quarterback Jake Boog. The Mavs averaged 21 points per game a year ago, and they'll look to improve on that number with some seniors to replace. Hayden Askew led a talented receiving corps last fall, but Coach Bernie Coons will have some new faces across the field. Let's check in with Man Valley, which opens at home against Perry Hall. Manchester Valley has the look of a big-time high school team in a very literal sense. The Mavericks don't just look big, they are big. Up front in specific, with some massive young men looking to pave the way for an offense that graduated some standouts such as quarterback Jake Boog and running back Ben Pitta. Gene Maggin is this year's signal caller for the Mavs, and the senior said he's excited to have the O-line in front of him this fall.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence sitting in the pocket. I've seen them all in the weight room, lifting big weights, so that gives me a lot of confidence back there. It makes me throw the ball. Installing new plays on offense, we've been working hard, working together, picking up blocks, catching footballs, It's been pretty good so far.
Boog passed for more than 1,700 yards last fall, and Pitta ran for more than 450, along with scoring 7 touchdowns. Maggin has some weapons on his side this season despite those losses. One of them should be senior James Herndon as a wide receiver. Herndon said the shift to a new quarterback has been a good one so far.
I mean, it's definitely different because, Jake Boog, he was amazing. Gene's his cousin, so he definitely gets to work within them. But he's very similar. He's got a good arm. He's accurate. He can do what he needs to do.
Markel Brown is another one of Man Valley's graduated talents. He led the Mavericks defense in tackles and sacks a year ago. But Herndon also plays on defense. He came up with 3 interceptions as a junior in 2022. Manchester Valley went 5-5 last fall, and 3-3 in Carroll County play, and lost to Franklin in the playoffs in a close contest. Magic remembers the feeling all too well.
Yeah, 100%, 2 times in a row, so it's definitely a lot of motivation. I remember a lot of those guys graduating, and we really liked them all, so having them put us down and kick us out kind of gives us a lot of motivation to take steps forward. So.
Mavericks coach Bernie Coons begins his 6th year with a Week 1 home game against Perry Hall. After another non-county clash in Week 2, the Mavericks open the Carroll County portion of their schedule against Liberty on September 14th. Coons said he's hoping the latest crop of young players are going into the leaders the program needs to succeed.
Yeah, they're starting by actions, doing a good job of leading. They could be a little bit better vocally. But sometimes when, like you said, we graduated a good core of seniors that had some good leadership to them, and sometimes they're following with some of that, but they're still learning how to be those leaders and what to do, when to do it. So it is coming along. It could take a few steps forward, but those guys that have the experience, like you said, of James and Hayden, they are stepping up and doing some of that and being good leaders for us.
Line on 3, 1, 2, 3. Hold on.
The Mavericks wrap up the 2023 regular season with 3 home games in a row, 2 of which are against county foes Francis Scott Key and Winters Mill. Their most challenging stretch looks to be in weeks 3, 4, and 5 with all the reigning county champs lined up. One of those champs is South Carroll, which opened last season 6-0 and finished with a share of the county title, and the Cavaliers made it back to the state tournament before bowing out in the quarterfinals. This fall, SC looks to replace A.J. Rodriguez, the reigning CMSportsNet Player of the Year, and their quarterback Carter Mazalewski, among others. The Cavaliers also head into the new season with a new coach, former offensive coordinator Mike Crumley. Let's see what South Carroll's doing down in Winfield ahead of their first game in Anne Arundel County against Chesapeake. Big shoes to fill, a phrase used by any football team when one of its top players has graduated. Such is the case at South Carroll, where the Cavaliers have one of the bigger pairs of unfilled shoes in the area. Gone is A.J. Rodriguez, who left his mark on the Cavaliers program and had a senior year for the ages, with 1,514 rushing yards and 22 total touchdowns. His absence will likely be felt, along with other standouts such as quarterback Carter Mazalewski and wideout Jackson Strelzing.
Yeah, we do have a lot of big shoes to fill, but we have a brand new system, new offensive coordinator. Things are looking really good for us right now. We have a really fast-paced offense, a lot of new things that a lot of teams aren't ready for.
Rodriguez was one of 12 seniors on the 2022 Cavs team that went 9-2 overall, 5-1 in the county, and made a trip to the Class 2A 1A state quarterfinals. South Carroll earned a share of the county title last fall and ran a regular season win streak to 16 games before losing a nail-biter against Liberty. South Carroll has 17 seniors and 18 juniors on this year's squad, led by a new head coach. Mike Crumley takes over from Mike Krause after recently serving as offensive coordinator. And Crumley said the transition has been relatively smooth.
I'm extremely excited, and you're right. I've been around the program now for going into my 14th year. I know these players inside and out, the roster inside and out, and the program inside and out. And not to mention Coach Krause before me, but Coach Lipp before him. They just really laid a good groundwork of how to run the team, how to run practices, how to game plan week to week. And I'm just, I'm following in those guys' footsteps.
South Carroll's defense, which allowed 12.5 points per game in 2022, graduated its top 2 tacklers in Caleb Blum and Nate Bohr. Gennaro Marchani returns after picking up 5 sacks in his junior season. The offense certainly will feature some new looks, but back to anchor the line is senior center Logan Brightful, who stressed the importance of opening holes for Manny Rodriguez and company and keeping his quarterback upright.
It's a pretty big responsibility as a center. You're the head of the line. You got to make sure everyone is doing their job, keeping the quarterback safe, and everybody knows what they're doing. As a line, we got to be big, we got to be strong, we got to be nasty. Receivers got to hit their routes, quarterback got to hit the right receiver, and running back's got to hit the hole.
South Carroll opens with 2 road games before they host Westminster Week 3 at Parker Field. And Crumley said staying strong will be key for success in Winfield this fall.
Yeah, we just have to stay physical. I don't want to beat a dead horse in the fact that we're, I think now, the smallest team in the county. But our numbers are good. You know, we've got 70 in the whole program, 42 on the varsity roster. We just need the guys to stay physical, to trust in the game plan that we're putting in from week to week. And I think we're going to be just fine.
3 1, 2, 3, keep on! Run it over, run it over, run it over. The Cavaliers hit the road again in week 2 to take on Linganore, then return home for their big rivalry game against Westminster. SC prevailed last year by 3 points, so we should be in store for another great matchup at Parker Field. Speaking of Westminster, the Owls put together an 8-game winning streak that propelled them into the Class 3A state quarterfinals in 2022, led by All-County quarterback Tyrese Walker. The junior passed for more than 1,800 yards and rushed for more than 1,000 as well. The Owls earned a piece of the county title and went 10-2, averaging more than 30 points per game along the way. Westminster opens the 2023 season at Ruby Field against Franklin, another 3A quarterfinalist from last season. Now let's hear from Coach Chris Basler and a few of his players. Expectations are high around Westminster's football team this fall, and for good reason. The Owls won 10 games in 2022, along with a piece of the Carroll County Athletic League title. And their offense was led by standout quarterback Tyrese Walker, who put together one of the better quarterback performances in county history with 1,800 plus passing yards and 1,000 plus rushing yards.
At the same time, I'm just going to do me, and I'm going to keep being me. So that's what we got last year. I just got to keep working harder than last year to get to it, so we can get farther than we were last year, because we always end up at the same spot every year. So I'm tired of that, and I want to get.
Westminster's offense graduated some high-caliber skill players, such as receiver Mason Fisher and running back Mikey Simons. But Walker said the Owls aren't about to take a step back in 2023.
I miss Mason, that's my dude. But, you know, we got Clayton Jr. last year, and he stepped up tremendously. We worked in the offseason like almost every day, and all the other guys, Isaiah and Tyler, Canton, the list goes on. All the receivers, they step up. Like, our team, if somebody go down, we always got somebody else to step up. We got a lot of talent on the team. So.
One of the guys protecting Walker in the pocket this fall is senior Jackson Clark, who should be a starter on Westminster's offensive line. Clark said he's ready to see what this year's offense can do, with senior Clayton Dorsey as the top returning receiver.
I mean, I think we're looking really good. We're definitely bringing a lot of it back. Got a lot of older guys that are knowing what we're doing, comfortable, so we're helping the younger guys, and I'm excited. I think it's just going to be we have like really good O-line this year, so I think we're just going to be able to like pound the ball down the throat of our opponents, keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving.
Westminster's defense graduated linebacker Andy Schneider, who led Carroll County in tackles with 116 last season. But much like his offense, Coach Chris Basler's defense has talent across the field, and the fifth-year coach said the Owls' defense has the potential to be even better this fall.
I think we're maybe even a little bit more athletic than last year, and you know, every year we're trying to add some new wrinkles and take advantage of that personality. And you know, obviously losing Andy in the middle is a big loss, and you know, we're looking forward to kind of the same thing with losing Mason. Every year we graduate good players, and other guys have to step up. And I think we have some guys that are primed there to step up and hopefully have big years for us.
Westminster opens the 2023 season with Franklin, who reached the 3A state quarterfinals last fall just as the Owls did. Then it's games against Frederick, South Carroll, and Walkersville. Basler said facing teams such as Franklin serves as a good test to see just how good the Owls could be in 2023.
I mean, I think if there's any doubt, it's going to be a great first test for us. And, you know, if we're going to be the kind of team we want to be, we need to beat teams like that. And, you know, it's going to be about our preparation here the next 2 weeks and getting ready for their athleticism and their speeds and their size. And, you know, Coach Burgos does an incredible job coaching his guys up. And, you know, it should be a heck of a game. And, you know, hopefully we prepare well enough that we can come out on top.
Westminster's schedule seems to be front-loaded, with Franklin and Frederick up first before taking on county rival South Carroll and then Walkersville, another Frederick County foe. The Owls host rival Renters Mill in their annual regular season finale. Now, those Falcons ended the 2022 season on a 3-game losing streak and went 2-4 in Carroll County play under Coach Matt Miller. Quarterback Caleb Crouch returns for his senior season, after close to 800 passing yards a year ago. One of Winters Mill's top athletes is Camden Cook, who over the summer committed to play at Nebraska next year. Before he gets there, it's time for the Falcons to open the 2023 season at home against Williamsport. Let's see how they're getting ready. Winters Mill graduated its leading rusher and receiver from 2022, a season that saw the Falcons go 3-6 overall and 2-4 in Carroll County play. But Coach Matt Miller likes what he sees from a crop of veteran skill players, and with a mix of additional talent, he hopes the Falcons can Pat Stoetzer and Mike Coons with you at Ruby Field, Westminster High School. Coach, we tried a couple times. Just got the word a few minutes ago from AD Terry Malloy that tonight's game's been postponed because of the weather. While we were in delay, I think we heard South Carolina got postponed out in Frederick County. I just think this band of storms came through and just was a recipe for disaster.
It was quite the brilliant light show there for a while.
It was.
But it did make me real comfortable sitting next to a lot of the electronics. You kept telling me we were safe.
We're safe. We're safe. And we'll be right back in a second. But before that, we'll get a word from our sponsors.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg for lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to...
We're back. Ruby Field, Westminster. It was going to be the CMSportsNet game of the week. There's some lightning going on out here behind us and they are in front of us at Ruby Field. Coach, I know you were looking forward to this matchup, and obviously I think they're doing the right thing here with the weather. It's unfortunate. Absolutely. The word we got, and I'll talk to you for a second here, but the word we got was the game's going to be rescheduled for Monday at 7 p.m. back here. So Frederick and Westminster come back on Monday. It'll be a little tricky week because next week's games were actually set for Thursday, the Jewish holiday coming up. So There'll be some rescheduling going on. I know you were telling me how you can play a certain amount of games in a certain amount of days. Does it affect the kids at all, or is it going to be just, hey, whenever we go on the field, let's go?
I think it does affect the kids, and most of the JV coaches, which is the level where I'm working, that's our schedule anyway. You know, you'll play Monday, Tuesday. I mean, we play every day of the week, and it really is difficult to get any kind of continuity. You know, you like Monday to be this day, you like Tuesday to be defense, whatever, and you just can't do that when the schedule hops all around.
Well, we were going to do it here. I'm looking forward to do another game with Coach Coons. He helped us out a couple times last year, so hopefully we'll get on the game of the week track here. But again, like we said, tonight's game postponed, rescheduled for Monday night, 7 p.m. back here at Ruby Field when Frederick comes back to take on Westminster in Week 2. For Mike Coons and Pat Stoetzer, thanks for trying to join us tonight for the game of the week. We'll be back, though, for some more high school football action this fall, so stick around with us and stay tuned. Have a good night.